Hello there. I'm going to do some descaling for a 1/8 scale F3 res airplane, and what we have right here is the egret, and we've got 3 solids, and we have them tilted at this 2.5 degree line within millionths, of course. And coming on into our trimetric, where I had some lumpy spots was if I go and hide that one, whoops, edit, undo, hide the red one. You see these lumps here. What I had to do was come in and add the pressure deform at 50. Finally gave me the closed object because I was getting the part being non-watertight, and I just could not find things. No non-manifold edges found. Appears to be a closed watertight body. So that's all cool there. And I'm going to get rid of that part. Go back to item, edit, undo the hide. Coming back into trimetric. And now from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude this splitting line. Endpoint in, we go up about, let's see, 7, 9, yeah, that's plenty good. And then transpose that down so we get some depth going on the left side, like that. And we split the fuselage, and returning to our trimetric, I am now going to split the fuselage with that plane. Now, because the wing has already been split, the first thing I need to do, oops, view on the left side, is hide. Nope, I'm going to change the layer on that. Put them on my dimension layer. I've been putting all my surfaces on the dimension layer. And the first thing I found earlier is because I'm tilted right now at that 2.5 degrees, and you can see the thickness of my trailing edge, which is going to happen when, oops, let's scale it first. View trimetric. First, we shall go back and hit the scaling because that's what it's all about. See, now we have those 2 new fellas, and we run scaling. And we start with a scale at 1.0. I'm going to change that. I've got a sticky decimal key, so I'm going to do the edits a bit the hard way, moving around that decimal point, and I'm going to go for 1/8 scale. So the item there is on our entities. We see that we have the 4 parts, and I have all kinds of layers going on for parts and hidden parts, and I'm using the origin at 0, 0. The nose cone comes into the negative by 1.5 inches, so hitting the anchor point at the origin, and then I left click again to start the reference, and then because I punched in my 1/8 scale here, now I just simply hit enter, and there we have our reference lines that are maintaining their size. And now we went from 79.5 inches. It's actually a little larger than 2 meters because I think it had something to do with my angles and the wingtip businesses. And up here we see the length at 9.947. That's going to fit inside that MakerBot Replicator 2X just fine. So returning into our side view, our 2.5 angle, that's the line that was there. So now I am here going to do a 3-point rotate. 1 point. Yeah, what the heck. Work pin normal is the work pin that we're looking at. And positive is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. So that would mean if I go in the positive zone, I would be grabbing a hold of the forward top edge of the wing. And what I need to look for is on my y-axis up here, I need to grab a hold of a y0 like that. And we now see from the two angles being from our X-plane, we see if I go shift and arrow looking down, we've got a line that is continuous going through a perfect split. So now I can do a simple rotate, and now I'm going to do my axis rotations of y-axis at 90s. There we go. And then this fellow is going at minus 90. Come on. Give me that guy. Minus. Location at 4/10. And there we have it. And then coming on into our, using our ISO view, I am now going to rotate that fellow going around the Z. Origin. We'll just click them like that. And then we transpose him down to the Z0. So we'll grab that surface, and we see up here in my status bar as I'm going along endpoints and along all of my spots. Oops. 222. We're holding that number as long as I'm reading on. 225, 698, 698, yep. So then we'll move him way on over to there. And this guy, we'll move him right next door. Coming in isometric and counterclockwise. Counterclockwise. X-axis counterclockwise. So I believe that's going to be our port part. Endpoint at 0, 0. View from the front. I'm set up for aeronauticals, and that is looking correct. View, ISO, shift to move, and we'll grab him there. Going along Y. Come on, we'll just grab a 0 point, and he's looking solid. View from the top. Yep, he's on target. And then this fellow is going positive 90. Delete, enter. And we'll go trimetric this time. As long as I'm getting my zeros, origin, and endpoint 0. And you see those names come up differently between translate and instance. That's all because of these changes going on. And then if I go to the endpoint, and then as long as I'm hitting along Y, I'll be parallel to, but I'm still going to be on the Z scale at 0. And then the same with our wing section. We want to move him from our minus, and using ISO, we'll move him on over to an arbitrary spot there, viewing from the top like that, and then we'll give those two fellows a rotate on the Z-axis. Oh, let's take a look at that. Fuselage length is 5.3 inches. So that's a great size compared to what I have in my hand at 3.5 inches for the first run. So then I add these two parts together, make them one part. Take these guys, file export them as the steel, binary, millimeter, selected only, OK. And that's going to be our E fuse. Whoops, capital E. E fuse in the things file. And I'm replacing that because the other ones were tilted a little bit. And then a normal deviation of 5, edge lengths and aspect ratio, we want those as small as possible. That's one of the things that the TurboCAD version 10 has done, is given us a smaller aspect ratio. And I'm going with all triangles compared to going with quads and all kinds of other stuff that way. And we have our 18,000. We've got a 2,000 limit on what the machine is, the TurboCAD program is able to deal with for reworking meshes. And then I'll close out the program without saving it. And that way we can still do splits and any other kind of changes. If I'm going to end up adding, say, a ball or whatever to do some kind of trophy mounting on that fuselage section. So I'm going to close it without saving. Okay, I've just pulled in our parts here, and the fuselage is the first thing, or the second thing that came in, so we'll give him a little bit of a move. Now I've got a cold spot on my build surface. It's up there in the Washington state, so viewing from the top, he's going to go outside the boundary a little bit, and then we'll give him a little bit of a rotate there, or something to the effect of that. Give him a move on over. And I like the way that wing is sitting all by itself. It was a little bit offset, but it was inside the printing view, so it asked for to be placed on the platform, and everything was great. And this time I'm going to go to the left extruder because it's slightly higher and I get some smoother results on that. So that'll come up as white. We're going to look at that. And everything is looking really gorgeous this way. Okay, let's take a look at the whole deal. So that 0.15 speed change dropped 10 minutes off of the time, and it used the whole surface. And I did have a little bit of captain pull up here on the corners, but nothing that the finishing can't handle, because one of the other parts of the story was there's a conversation going on at RC groups about how ABS shrinks a lot, and I was talking about a couple of my other files which were going quite nicely with the metallic silver here from 3DX Tech. But there is a little bit of warping. There we go, mostly. There's oh, I know. Let me take out, there's one of the other ones. Here he is. Here's one that I had tacked together at the root. Hang on. And that's about average with thick glue, thick paster there holding it together, and then using the acetone plus filler to get the rest of it filled in there. So small duckies happening, and then one of these other spots I had a drip of acetone hit that fellow, so that gives you a small idea how much change happens just from a drop of acetone hitting a piece. So yeah, it's been a real ride here. Big learning experience. Well, I think that this Makerbot is goofy as it is, seems to be smarter than its daddy, because when it's not making money and having hiccups and hassles, and I'm just doing a project for myself, and what I have here is a single shelled hollow model compared to 100% with 2 shells, and we're at 99% here, and we get about 6 layers per percent. So here and a couple layers we'll be getting to the finish, and then we'll look at the clock and all that stuff. And you see a little bending going on that other side, which is totally acceptable. Sorry for the wiggles. I love that string coming on out there. And I had to do my little tab of glue with ABS here in this corner. So I did that to the 4 corners, and we are looking at 1 hour 55 and 5 meters compared to 6 hours and 12 meters. Well, interesting. And then of course we have the guy that doesn't follow what the engineers did. You know, see, I laid this one on your left down flat, forgetting that there's that center piece going on in the center, and then there was a split. See that split there? So I'll add this to the other videos. I did this instead of doing some repair, but oh, look at my ergonomics. I have ergonomics, I have my batteries collected. We're doing a fair job of moving in tonight. And yes, that is Just Fly, a KA8, which I'm finding out on RC groups is very popular, and lots of guys want some replacement parts. And that one there is Sarah. Did not make the move so well. And then here's some other parts and wings. And I've got 1 box of Kubiak prints plus a second box of Kubiak prints, which have been gone through, and some of these are the originals to the Wagner paint pump, but I'm not telling you which ones they are. And of course Mystic here, she's just waiting for some attention. And then we have my one canard. I need to do some work on motor mounting there. And then Bill's 100-inch fuselage there. Yes, my toolbox is retired, making no money, just like the Makerbot. Heh heh heh. Take that, you dastardly deed doer. Torment you later, gang.